Yeah, CarPro has been great for us. We were one of the, we were the original here in the Austin market. And the difference between the CarPro show and the other types of advertising that we do is that when the customers come to us from Jerry, they already know Jerry and they already have a rapport. So when they're introduced to me, we have instant rapport, and it's almost like they become customers from life from the minute we meet them. I think the most important part about being a CarPro show dealer is to really embrace what being a CarPro show dealer means. And that means that, when these folks come in, it's just like your friends and your family that would come in, and they get a different experience when they show up at the store. And you have to embrace that. And if you do, it's just like taking those group of great customers that you already have and just blowing it up and finding as many as you can out in the market. Jerry's customers, they have a tie to Jerry, and that's why they call him and they believe in him and they trust him. And when they walk in the store, if they just come into the the regular sales process that you have, as great as it may be, they still need to have somebody that they can attach to when they get to the store, and then that transfer happens from there. So when Jerry recommends somebody to the dealership, he talks about our dealership, and he talks about me specifically on the show, and so then the customer is introduced to me. My communication with the customers generally just starts with an email, and then I set them up with a member of our team, sales manager, and then their team takes care of them from start to finish. And we just make sure the sales process is as good as it can be. One of the differences also when customers walk in and they're coming from Jerry and they've heard Jerry talk about us and they've heard Jerry talk about me and they've heard Jerry talk about the store, the customer already has a trust level when they show up at the store. So as long as that's handled and you shake their hand and you know who they are and they look you in the eye and they know that they're about to be taken care of and they have nothing to worry about, the whole process is started on the right track. Our CarPro referrals close at a rate that is not seen in any of the other suppliers that we have. We probably close our CarPro customers at an 85% or greater rate from the initial. So they come in, they are buyers, they're in the market, they're contacting Jerry because they want to buy a vehicle, and they want to buy a Ford. And when they come in, basically you just don't screw it up and you'll be in good shape. They're great customers. They send us repeats and referrals, and we sell enough just off the regular CarPro show customers, but like I said, we've got a ton of them that once they're our customer, then they become our customers. They don't stay Jerry, they still listen to the show, but they become part of the Leif Johnson Ford family. So I would say from a dealer standpoint, if you're thinking about doing the CarPro show, if you're not committed to the process that the CarPro show offers and being able to give that experience to the customer, don't do the program. We're not seen as like a paid advertiser of the CarPro show. We're seen as somebody that's known Jerry for years, as we have, and that Jerry's sending them over to see their friend over at the dealership. And it's important that process stay intact. Yeah, and Jerry's been kind enough also to kind of help integrate us into our advertising. So he's become our spokesman for the dealership, so that as he has listeners all throughout the market, everybody knows who the CarPro is. Then the CarPro comes up and does our commercials and helps be able to talk about the Leif Johnson store on all our commercials. The benefit from Jerry being able to do our spots for us is that it's not us always talking about how great we are. It's Jerry coming from a guy that's respected and been in the business for a long time, and he's the car professional within the market. And so then Jerry gets to talk about hey, these are our friends, and these are if you're going to buy a Ford, you need to go buy it from one of these guys right here.